provide coal. And that's where the justice system has crossed over the line, because those standards involve EPA output at the power plant level, not at the surface line level.
Kyle, you're up next with this one. Since DMEA is a rural electrical co-op, should farmers and agricultural businesses pay a lower rate for their electricity?
We use the same amount of electricity. I'm sure as a farmer, I would love to say, yeah, heck yeah, give me a cheaper rate, but that's not the reality of the world we live in today. So I think that everyone should pay for what they use, and if there is a way to incentivize someone who is doing something better, then let's work that out. But I don't think that a flat blanket, yours should be cheaper than the next guy is a way to approach this.
I also think that the cost structure has been built in a way so that it, stabilizes the cooperative. I do think that into the future there may be a possibility of some of the farmers being able to, have some hydros out on their farms, because we have some great drop and we have a whole bunch of irrigation water. So I'm really hoping that here in the near future they'll get to benefit from that.
Our seasonal rates provide opportunities for our ag producers and those that use a lot more energy seasonally. That includes fruit growers, not just those that use a great deal of water and pumping. So if they take advantage of those times that those rates are available to them, they will find a great benefit, and would benefit greatly by going to DMEA and working with the staff that knows how to conserve that energy for them.
Richard?
One of the beauties of a democracy, which a co-op is that it doesn't discriminate, supposedly. And once you start discriminating and saying, well, these people are going to pay lower rates than these people, you start developing what's called a class system, and then you're starting to make one class more important than another class. And that destroys the democracy. So I wouldn't be in favor of giving beneficial rates to one group over another. No.
Andy, you're up first on this one. Have you accepted any money for your campaign? And if so, from whom?
Absolutely not. I do not want to go down that road. I feel confident that I can get a good feel from what the members want out of me if I'm elected. And at this level, I don't want to have obligations out there to people that further down the road I may not want to have. So, yep, I have not. Thank you.
This is not a political campaign, and the records of receiving money and dispersing money are not required. But to answer that question, no.
Okay. Richard?
No.
No.
I love these quick answers. Okay, now we've got a couple of questions that tie into organizational kind of employee issues. So I think, Tammy, you're up first here. And the question is, do you believe the salaries paid to DMEA top-tier employees are justified?
There are two types of employees at Delta Montrose Electric. There are those that are part of the bargaining unit employee structure, and then there's the management side of it. The rate of pay is negotiated for the bargaining side of it through an international organization called the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. Those salaries are established based on the rates of salaries in the area and throughout the state of Colorado, and are very fair and biased. I know that there are questions being raised about the top salaries of the staff on the management side of the employee structure.
Talent costs money, bottom line. And I have a copy of the 990 right here if anybody'd like to see it. And the beauty of this co-op is that you can go on their website and you can download that 990 and you can look at the compensation of all the top paid employees at DMEA. Now that's called transparency. Now, I can tell you, I've looked at those salaries and they're comparable to what CEOs and upper management are receiving in other organizations. So I don't feel that they're out of line. And we're actually competing for these top management positions because there's a great demand for talented people. And I think that we as a co-op need to employ the most talented people we possibly can. Thank you.
I have to agree with what Richard said. I believe that there are a lot of talented individuals who work for DMEA now, and in order to retain them and not lose them to another utility provider somewhere else, we have to pay a competitive rate across the country to keep some of these guys here. We do live in a beautiful part of the state, and we're very lucky that we live where we do, but some of these individuals have to go where their services are required, and if they're able to get a competitive pay, then we may miss out on some of that talent.
I believe that the employees definitely need to be well taken care of. The better the employee morale, I believe, the higher productivity of the employees, along with, you know, the overall operations should be more efficient. So, yeah, I think they have some complex jobs, and I think it's they're well deserved.
Okay, so here's kind of the other side of that question. Many agree that employees are one of the most important assets at DMEA. Over the last few years, to reduce expenses, positions have been eliminated or not filled, wages and benefit costs have been closely monitored. As a board member, how will you ensure that DMEA is able to attract and retain quality staff? Richard,
The ability to retain quality staff has a lot to do with the atmosphere that's provided by the board of directors. And the board of directors, their job is to identify the policies that the CEO is going to carry out, because those employees don't actually work for the board of directors. They work for the CEO of DMEA. So in order to get those talented people and keep them happy, yes, we have to compensate them, but this is a very attractable part of the country that people are looking to move here because of what we have to offer in our natural resources. So I think we're doing a good job, and we need to keep on doing what we're doing.
If we're able to keep our association strong, keep our members receiving the level of service that they've come to expect over the years, and providing a good work atmosphere, like you mentioned, through hiring a good CEO, maintaining that the CEO is doing a good job, we'll be able to retain some of these staff, especially if we're able to do things like broadband or move forward with different types of generation that will allow the association to produce a higher level of revenue. Then we will be more likely to be able to pay a better pay, compete with other districts, and provide a good place to work for the employees of DMEA.
I think to keep quality staff, I think a lot of it would have to do with empowering the employees, and how do you do that? You make them feel wanted. But I think that the employees need to know, you know, that there's a chance that they may be promoted from within. I think sometimes organizations lose sight of that. If there's a new job posting, more often than not, it looks like it's from someone outside of the area. I think there's a lot of things that mess with employee morale overall, but I think that me as a new board member, I would definitely like to create a more positive culture overall for DMEA in the best way that I could. Thank you.
The directors establish policies, and that direction comes from you as members. We have bylaws, and we have service regulations, and we have policies. They're all separate governing documents. A member of the board works on a team to govern the direction of this company. if followed fairly and equitably, just as I described, from the membership down, things will be fine.
Okay, now we're going to shift back to operational questions. Which of DMEA's demand-side management programs do you feel has been most successful, and why? What else would you advocate?